There's two things that I was feeling there is like one, um, and this is like a process for everyone, so you can kind of evaluate where you are in the process. But one is like feeling your feelings towards how things are now, So like being with however that makes you feel. Because there has to be like an alchemy process, right? So it's like, okay, I need to when anything we're creating, like we want to be as clear of a vessel as possible, you know? And the more that we haven't processed some layers and we don't let ourselves go that deep as far as like how angry we allow ourselves to get or how sad or how like we want to stomp at like the way the world is, the more that there's just gonna be unprocessed stuff that's kind of like fogging up our vessel, our like clear vessel. And so and like I guess an inquiry for you is like how much do you allow yourself to like really be in your emotions? Like really be angry and like punch a pillow or like scream into the pillow and be like ah, or like like really letting yourself do that. And so my recommendation for anybody, if you're having like a if you because to me I used to say that like I felt like feeling your emotions could be like a 7-year course because there's so many layers to deepening and pulling out more and more. And especially if anyone has had to like suppress their emotions at home, it can feel really unsafe to go there. So even for me, like I said, it could be a 7-year course. I have done so much work on my emotions. I literally used to be like so icy, I wouldn't be able to feel anything. And I'm not like that at all. I cry like every week. And I still have like these just automatic, like I noticed that the way that I can tell that there's emotion underneath is because of my automatic patterns above it. But I still have those automatic patterns of avoidance. And I really think it's a thing of like being a parentified child and like learning how to really um or like coping with that by really I'm trying to think of what word I'm thinking of, but just being like I can deal with anything and nothing will ever affect me. You know what I mean? Like really being this like soldier. And again, that's like it's connected to that card, the wounded healer, right? Where it's like I can be that steady flag no matter what's going on around me. It's like I have such that programming that it's hard for me not to go there. And so if we have that, then there's like layers to undo. And so usually when I'm tell like that's coming up for people, I often tell people that a good idea is, at least for me, what's worked is like making playlists for emotions. So making a playlist for like angry, making a playlist for um the world's messed up, making a playlist for sadness. And like really like just moving our body with the music. Even I think like singing along with the music, that stuff can kind of help you move it more. Obviously like creativity can help, or like some people it can be helpful to run or something. But like moving those emotions can really be helpful. Because a lot of the times, like, there's a lot of stuff in the past, like we have so much past stuff about the way things are. That's just like, oh, I don't even want to. It's like we're like a full glass of like all the shit that we've seen in the world, and it's like I don't even want to deal with that. And so, but then we don't have any more capacity to be with it anymore, right? Because we're kind of full. We haven't processed all this stuff, so we want to kind of like pour out the water so that we can be more, again, a clear vessel, so we can really be with what's going on. For me to if it feels like really intense emotion that's really stuck, breath work really helps with for me, which is the holotropic breath really works for me of like moving that stuff. Then like the second part of that, I would say is also evaluating those. There's like the wind and the doors closing, but evaluating like what your own medicine is. So for example, for me, what I've realized, so obviously if I mean, I don't know if everyone who watches this recording will know, but I used to work as a public defender. And I think in some ways I was really good at working in the system because I could be with the problems. Like I was fine with that. Um, I guess I could be with like the heaviness of like what's happening. Like that was fine. The part that I'm not good at is like being with the average person's like uh I guess, reality, like the way that they see reality, that there's nothing that they can do about it. And I realized like for me, that's exhausting. Like being in the system every day around people who are like, oh, this is just the way it is, like every day, it's like so draining for me. And now that I'm not in that situation anymore, I'm like, oh, I'm really not meant to work with those people. Like I'm not meant to work with that average person who like just really is trying to maybe make tiny changes of out of like the system that they really believe in. Like I'm just really not, that's not my medicine. And it makes sense because my medicine, part of my medicine is like innovation, like true innovation and like building completely new stuff. So like being around those people like all the time is really draining for me. So that's another thing to think about. It's like, what is the day-to-day environment that we need for ourselves to like fuel our soul? Because we do, even if you're being completely different than your environment and you have good embodiment and skills, our environment, if we're around it all the time, is going to influence us, which is part of the reason why I feel so inspired about this work is that we're building things from scratch so we can create the environment, right? We're not like drenched or whatever in the trenches of an environment that just does not want to budge because you can go home and do your spiritual practices and believe all's possible and then go there again and it's going to drain you each day. Each day you're going to be drained. So then also again like I guess really accessing those parts of your inner child that really do believe that anything's possible and like trying to like make more space for her, you know? Yeah, and making the environment that works for her, because ultimately, like, so for example, I know a lot about nonprofits, so like the idea of structuring my business within a nonprofit structure doesn't really appeal to me because I know the way that it is, and like I don't want to have people telling me I can't do stuff. Um, so that's also something you can think about. But then also, like, I guess the last consideration is thinking about whether you're in your head about things. Because sometimes when we like think about the big picture, it can just be overwhelming because we're like, oh my God, look at all the stuff I would have to do. I'm just not going to do it. Then there's again, what's underneath that? Because there's something there, like some self-protection mechanism. And yeah, and because ultimately, like we can get help. Like you don't, if you're going to apply to be a nonprofit, you can find someone to help you do that, you know, or whatever it is. So, I guess that's like I think that to me, that's like all the different directions that I could go in and you can find what fits for you.